what's coming up next is extremely moving. If you've ever wanted to be able to help pretty much save a life or change a life with just a little bit of money, Bongai has figured out a way to help you do it. She started a nonprofit. So I'm not going to say anything more about it. I'm going to let her explain. So without further ado, Bongai Mhloyi. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth and Richard, for having us here today, and I'm honored to be here. Yes, so my name is Bongai Mhloyi. I am the CEO and the founder of a nonprofit organization. The name of it is called American and African Youth Leadership Foundation. So the name comes because I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I moved to the United States in 1985 with my husband. And I grew up in Zimbabwe, and I started my nonprofit in 2010. I will go into detail further as I go on telling my story. But today we are in 2021, and believe it or not, a lot of worldwide, a lot of girls are robbed of their education, they are robbed of their health, they are robbed of their aspirations because they are getting married off to much older guys due to poverty, due to all kinds of situations in their homes. Even here in the United States, we still have child marriages. So I knew way back when I was still little that I wanted to do something and help girls that are vulnerable, that are at a disadvantage. That's why I chose to go into this field that I'm in. So that's why I started my nonprofit organization. And as I was growing up in Zimbabwe, I witnessed child marriages in my own family. My grandfather, he was 75 at the time, and he married a young girl. She was about 12 years old at the time. I know that because we were about the same age. And we were wondering, why is she doing, at my grandfather's house? And my mother told us that she was married off by her father due to poverty. So I saw this girl, she was so miserable. She was crying every day. We were going to school, my sisters and I, but this young girl, she was not allowed to go to school. She was not allowed to play outside just like little girls do, because now she had to take herself as a wife, as she had to prepare to be a mother. So she didn't want that, and I saw that, and that just broke my heart. That's why when I came here, I just say I have to do something about this. Anyway, this young girl ended up running away 2 years later, and I am thankful that she didn't have any kids with my grandfather before she ran away. And but there are a lot of girls that are in the situation. They end up being mothers at age 12, 13, and 14. So that's those kind of stories, it just make me want to do more of what I do.
What you do with your nonprofit is you get money from people, and then the families will let the girls go to school if somebody gives them money, right? For that.
Absolutely, yes.
Otherwise, the girls, they're too poor. If there's a boy, the boy gets to go to school, but they're too poor to
Absolutely,
see the value in sending a girl to school. So this 12-year-old girl, I think you said your grandfather was 75 or something,
yes,
and and she has to have a baby with him at
yes,
like 13,
yes.
Wow.
and that just ruins her whole life. She can't get any education, and then the guy dies,
Absolutely,
right?
yes, yes. Actually, my grandfather died 2 years after she ran away. So that means if she had had a child with him, she was going to be a single mother at age 12 or 13. And she had to figure out how to raise this child. She had to figure out how to survive because she didn't go to school. She has no skills. So she has to figure out a lot of different things. And she's still a child herself. So for her to figure all that out, it's like life ends, once that happens.
How can you prevent these marriages from taking place in the first place? Is there anything anyone can do?
That's what I'm doing right now. My organization, we go in. I work with one particular community in Zimbabwe, which is like the rural area. Mostly in Zimbabwe, yeah, we still have that law that says 18 and below, you are still a child. You are not allowed to get married. But in these rural areas, a lot of people don't follow those rules. It still happens today. So my organization will go and we select these girls that are getting married off because they are going through a lot of gender biases. So the families, they are poor and they will opt to send their boys to school and leave the girls behind because as they grow up and they become, they go through puberty, now they have to be trained to be a mother, they have to be trained to be a wife. So the girls are always, behind. So we go in as an organization, we provide scholarships to these girls, and we keep them in school. The good thing about it is that the families, they won't object to having an organization or anybody who is willing to pay for their school fees, send them to school. That's the good part. Otherwise, it will be a non-starter. But the good thing is the families will be like, okay, if you can pay for my daughter to go to school, that's okay. The only reason they are doing this is because they cannot afford to sometimes to get food, on its own. So to send a girl to school. So the reason they are marrying them off is that the girl will go off to whoever is marrying them. So now it's no longer his responsibility, it's the husband's responsibility now to feed the girl and the child.
How much money do they receive to allow their girl to go to school?
The parents don't receive any money for the girl to go to school. So what my organization does is that we provide scholarships, and I deal with the school. So we just register the girl into the school. She gets accepted in the school. We pay school fees. Now she can go to school. Some of the girls, we even keep them at the school so that they can stay there, because some of them have to walk like 5 miles to go to school. So we have a place that we can keep them in. But the parents, they don't receive anything. They just let us come in and we send the girls to school.
And what is the cost of a scholarship?
Okay, so for one girl to stay in school for the whole entire year, it costs $300. So in Zimbabwe, we have 3 semesters, school semesters per year. So one semester is $100 school fees. So for the 3 semesters is a total of $300. And that will cover everything that she needs for her to stay in school and change her life forever.
Wow, that's
and you
amazing.
get that money from donors, from people who want to give to your nonprofit, people like us, people like our listeners, and you'll take $25 a month, right?
Yes. So anybody who wants to sponsor a girl, which is $300 a year, we break it down to $25 a month. A lot of people that are sponsoring girls now, they go on our website, they sign up to be a monthly donor or sponsor. So every month, if they come on the 20th of each month, so every 20th of the month, it automatically goes to our account, our nonprofit organization account. And I just sent the school fees for January, for the beginning of the year semester. So every semester begins, I send the fees for all the girls to the school. I don't send it to the families.
And what is your website again, so our listeners can go there now and sign up?
Yes, so the website is www.endchildmarriages.org. And if you go there, you can just click on the site, and it's very simple. Everything is step by step, and you become a sponsor. And once you become a sponsor, I will give you the picture of the girl that we select to be your sponsee, and you will get her story, why she is in the program, because there's a lot of different stories. And you get to get school progress. Every end of the semester, you get a progress report of how she's doing in the school.
I was just going to say, I think about how progressive we think we are as a society. And when you hear stories like this and you see that this is even happening and going on, I mean, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I can't even imagine, right? And or even being a 12-year-old little girl and not having to think about anything else but playing with dolls or going outside to play with friends. So I just want to commend you for the work that you're doing. And, I guess my question would be, you're obviously creating a cultural shift within your country with providing resources and so on and so forth. I mean, how far behind, or like how long do you think it would take to make a significant impact if you had to equate it to years based on what you're doing to get things where they need to be?
If everything goes well, I don't think it will take that long. It might take a few years, but with the community that I work with, it's not taking long, because the families, especially the mothers, they don't want their girls to get married off. So they will do anything to keep their girls in school and have a brighter future, better than what they had, because most of these mothers, they were child brides themselves, and they didn't like that. So they will do anything to make sure that their daughters goes to school. So it won't take that long. As long as we have people willing to sponsor and we get the sponsorships, scholarships for the girls, it won't take long.
Thank you for what you're doing, and God bless you, because that's
Thank you.
a big feat that you've taken on. My
Thank
one
you for
quick
listening.
question is, what is your selection process? How do you know who you're going to select? There's so many people who are obviously in need, young girls who are in need of this type of education and shelter.
Great question. So I work with at one particular community that I'm working with, where most of my students are from. I work with the teachers there. So they live in the community. They see these girls on a day-to-day basis. So they know who is the most vulnerable girl. So we actually have a waiting list of the girls that are on the waiting list to come to our programs. So as soon as I get a sponsor, I take one girl from the list and we put them in the program. So the teachers that I work with, they are the ones that are doing the hands-on and day-to-day basis. So they are the ones who are helping me selecting the girls.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I'm just wondering if we can try to make that waiting list a little shorter. $300
That's
a year.
that's my prayer.
It's a small price to pay to save somebody's
Right.
life. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and we're glad that you're out there doing this work. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
So you are listening to Passage to Profit. We have to go to a break now. That was a real heartstrings tugger story. We'll be back right after this.